it has begun. The forecast for 1.5 to 3+ inches of rain over the next couple days is off to a pretty strong start. I'd say we've already had a 1/2 inch over last night into this morning, and it doesn't appear to be letting up. According to the forecast, the worst is yet to come. I'm hoping that nothing comes out of it, but it is my job to keep you guys updated on the happenings here around the farm. And rain is obviously very important to our successes and failures. It looks like that round of rain is over already. You can see it added up to quite a bit of moisture in just a short and violent little spurt. Based on the radar, there's definitely a lot more of them coming. Small but mighty, not exactly what we want. The jokes practically write themselves here, folks. I'll let you deliver the punchline on that one. I went to go do something very productive and check on our little cat colony at Katie's house, and they're not in their usual spot. Normally they're nested up here in these little electric cars. They're also not in their box spot. I wonder where they could be. Tess, you're not a very good guard dog. You let me all the way into the house before you even said anything. Are the cats in the house? What kind of establishment are you running in here, Chassis? The outside mouse hunters are living the posh inside lifestyle right now? Excuse me, Orange Cat. Where are your siblings at? Not gonna snitch? Oh, okay. So you've been real hard at it. Ma'am? I don't think this is the friendliest camera angle for you. You're looking kind of thick. This is Dot. She's the mama cat. She was just a scroungy little thing when she wandered away over here to Katie's. She was pregnant with 3 little kittens at the time. Speaking of the devil, there's one of them. I can't believe you guys are allowed inside the house now. How did you manage that? Where's the third one of you? I know there's one more kitten in here somewhere. Okay. I'll leave you guys alone. Don't work too hard today. As it currently stands, we've not even had close to a concerning amount of rainfall. I'll keep in touch with you guys and check back in as the next day or two develops. With weather like this and a lot of rain, we typically don't do a lot of very entertaining activities on the farm. All of these storms that myself and the weathermen have been hyping up for the last day haven't really amounted to much more than less than 1 inch of rain so far. Been about a day since my last update. Sitting here at the John Deere dealership dreaming about warmer weather and drier ground, because that's about all we can do right now. There's one of those new model year Hagies. I believe that is an STS-12, so one of the smaller ones. Although a very large sprayer that looks pretty beefy with those floater tires on it, still not the biggest option. The used Hagie that's coming in for me is being replaced by a brand new Hagie STS-16, which is a 1,600 gallon tank. That'd be nice to have. I'm starting with a 12 because really it's just baby steps for me at this point in time. Assuming that this whole sprayer investment pans out the way I think it will, I will probably upgrade to an STS-16 in the future, preferably one of these new models. But that is a long way away. We gotta focus on what's in front of us right now. The STS-16 in question is supposedly set up though here somewhere, and either today or tomorrow they're doing delivery and trading out for the used one that I'm acquiring. It should be in here at the Mattoon Alliance tractor dealership. They're gonna run it through the shop, and it should be ready to come home to me. I wanted to take a quick break from the action to thank the sponsor of today's video, AG1. AG1 is comprehensive daily nutrition made powerfully simple. It's made up of 75 high-quality, whole food-sourced ingredients, including vitamins, minerals, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens, carefully curated to nourish all of the body's systems holistically. AG1 was specifically designed for people just like you and I. Individuals who are continuously trying to move their body in a healthy direction need an essential daily routine that is simple yet comprehensive like AG1. It really should come as no surprise, when we feel our best, we seem to perform better as well. That's why a product that supports all of your bodily functions like AG1 is essential. I normally prefer to start my day off with AG1, but you can do it however you choose. Being a farmer with planting season rapidly approaching, obviously my go time is very soon and I want to support my body in any way possible. One of the many things that AG1 can help support is mental clarity and focus. It's always great to be on your A game when it's asked of you. That's also not even mentioning the possibility for improved energy if your body is short on the nutrients and nourishment it requires to properly fuel everything. There are obviously many other benefits, but those are the two that stand out to me. To put it simply, AG1 is an easy and effective daily habit. I highly recommend you try it out. You never know what you could stand to gain from it. If by chance you are interested in trying out AG1, I highly recommend you head over to athleticgreens.com/aTrippyFarmer to get started on your order today. The team at AG1 is also going to generously give anyone from my community a 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2, as well as 5 free travel packs to try out on their first order. Let's all give one last big shout out to AG1 for sponsoring today's video. Head on over and check out what they have to offer. As much as I'd love to just keep doing nothing anytime the weather's even close to inadequate, we do have to keep our eyes on the prize, which is planting season, and it's gonna be here before too long. Like I mentioned in a previous video, we are starting to see in the 10+ day forecast where the average temperatures are slowly warming up, as opposed to 20 degrees in the morning and 35 in the afternoons like we've been used to. Now we're looking at 40 degrees in the morning and the possibility of 65 to 70 as highs in the afternoons. That kind of weather with some sunshine can result in pretty quick drying, which ultimately means planting. I don't know if it shows up in the video very well, but the concrete is literally steaming here in the older machine shed. Windows are fogged up on the tractors, the trucks, the old sprayer. In the spirit of productivity, we're gonna go ahead and change the oil in both seed tenders. I don't think it really needs to be done. Usually you can get away with skipping that for a year or two. We are kind of just sitting here twiddling our thumbs waiting on the ground to dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'd love to pull them out and get them staged somewhere properly. It's just that we have tractors parked every which way in direction here in the shed. So just gonna have to work over there in the west end. Gotta get this mower out of the way if it'll start. After running a 0 turn for a while, you realize that these old riding lawnmowers are just not as comfortable to get on and off of. They're made for smaller people, both in physical dimensions and in stomach size. I'm just gonna go ahead and get all of this junk out of the way. Really, the junk is underneath. Those are replacement filters, so very valuable, just not where I want them. It's in this toolbox. Must be off of one of the big 4-wheel drives. My dad's a little paranoid that even at our local John Deere dealership that someone's gonna steal this and its inhabitants. It looks like it actually may be off this tractor right here. Pass the rattle test. It seems like with some of this stuff, we're always just kicking the can down the road, metaphorically speaking. In the fall, we put the junk somewhere that's not gonna bother us till the spring. And in the spring, we move it somewhere that's not gonna bother us until the fall. Either way though, we've always got to move it back and forth so we find a permanent home for it. I personally do not see the actual need to keep these old cutter bars, at least the super old ones. We have one set here that would still work on our current drapers. The rest is a little more antique. That was probably from our Hydroflex platform years ago. But my dad likes to keep things. I wouldn't call him a hoarder because he's not that bad. So it would be nice to clean some of this stuff out. Probably gonna start on the J&M tender. 1, because that's the one I use for soybeans. And 2, because it's much easier to access. All of the engine components are right here on the front. This older Unverforth tender that we move our seed corn around with, the engine's tucked in the back right corner under the frame. So it's not quite as convenient. Not saying it's challenging to change the oil, but we might as well at least just get our legs stretched a little bit with the easier one. I've got my pan underneath. I cranked the jack down a little bit, hoping that that would let this run out to the front. And now let's see if we can even get this socket on. Doesn't look like we're gonna be able to. Never mind, I was wrong. This is the drain plug. It made sense that it would be this. I just didn't trust myself. There we go. Don't drop the plug. Don't drop the plug. Just a little bit coming out. Probably ought to pop out the fill cap, might speed it up. At the pace this is trickling out of there, this ought to be done by tomorrow. Like I said, they don't hold that much oil. We're just gonna throw in a little more than a quart of John Deere Turf Guard 10W30 in them. It's pretty much the standard type of oil for an engine like this. It'd be interesting to run the numbers on how much these engines actually run a year. I wouldn't put my money on anything over 5 hours of them actually running, because really we don't fill our planters that much. So their workload is pretty small. Though one could definitely argue that for their time spent running, they move some of the highest dollar amounts worth of product on the farm. So I guess that makes this oil change pretty justified. You just hit start.
Where?
No, that you want the top one, not the bottom one.
What's the bottom one?
I think the bottom one's boost. You got it on gel batteries. This is just a standard battery. Click that one. There you go.
Now hit it, start.
Now hit start.
Well, let's do 50 amp.
It needs a 50 amp charge.
Well, what's the next one? 2 amp?
200 amp.
200 amp's not what you want.
2 to 6 is probably plenty. I mean, are we trickling it or are we trying to start it?
I'm getting just giving the batteries a hit.
Yeah, hit start again. You just canceled it. Hit start.
I did.
No, you didn't.
Boost mode.
This new battery charger is a little bit more complicated than we're used to. I think it's on the right mode. I'm not really sure. Either we're gonna have a really charged battery or it's gonna explode, one of the two.
So where's the fill? That top thing?
There's a cap there on the side.
The dipstick?
Yeah.
Let me go get that other funnel.
I don't know. What'd you do with it?
Give it to you.
No, you didn't.
Is there a plug in the...
Yeah, that's right. I see it.
The rubber plug?
You mean like a washer?
A rubber thing lets the oil drain down. Is there a hole there?
There's the plugs right here.
Yeah, push it out.
Push what out? I don't know what you're
The
talking about.
rubber plug that goes down.
There is no rubber plug that goes down.
Are you sure? Wait a minute, don't take that out till you get the plug out.
What are you talking about?
Well, get out of there and let me look at it.
What rubber plug are you
There's
talking
a plug in the bottom, a rubber spacer.
What, in this hole?
Yeah, is there a hole there?
Yeah, but there's no...
Okay.
I don't know
I
what-
asked you if there was a plug in it. No, I asked you if there was a hole.
Oh, there's an oil plug in it. That would help if you were turning it the right way.
Always hard when it's upside down.
Yeah.
You done with your flashlight?
It will be in about
When you drop the plug
5
down
seconds, unless I drop the plug. There it goes. Heck, that oil looks brand new. Like I said, this one's a little tighter to get to. Not as streamlined of a design, but these Honda engines are pretty reliable. They've been good to us so far. Well, you want to turn the battery charger off and have me pull start it?
No.
Other than the battery probably needing a little bit more of a charge going into the season, the green seed tender is pretty much ready to go. If we get a good opportunity, I may run it over to the power washer, soap it up and clean it off, because I don't think we've ever thoroughly cleaned these. I guess I should also mention that maybe some grease wouldn't hurt. It doesn't look unhooked.
Is that hooked?
No. Now it's hooked up.
Is this dragging that hook?
Probably good to go ahead and put the drain plug back in. Since it started without much electrical assistance, we're just going to go ahead and put the battery cover back on. There you have it, one step closer to planting. Now we just need Mother Nature to cooperate with us. Can I get that four-wheel drive out without moving that torn head cart?
So what?
I might wash it this afternoon.
So other one need wash, didn't it?
I think that one could use wash too. They're calling for a little gap in the rain this afternoon, along with some 70-degree highs. And we also happen to get our power washer fixed. So I'm gonna go ahead and run this 9460R over. I'm optimistic that maybe we can get this and the other 9460R that we had to quit because the power washer broke, cleaned off today. among other projects. It feels a lot more like fall than spring, but we got to forget about that because hopefully we'll be turning some dirt here in the next week or two. I'm just getting that tractor ready to be washed. I'm not going to do it quite yet. As it currently stands, the plan moving forward is I'm going to clean off those 2 4-wheel drive tractors that are still a little bit on the dirty side. And while I'm doing that, my dad is gonna go run the backhoe on one of our farms over west. We have a few trees down in a creek causing the watershed there to kind of meander a little bit. We don't really want that. We like it to stay straight so it doesn't encroach on our filter strips and cause more issues. He's going to go do that, but I've had enough of listening to the grease alarm go off. Hear the pins kind of screeching a little bit. They need some lubrication, and it's probably long overdue. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw some grease in every one of these that'll take. This will be my first time greasing this with the lock and lube tip on. I'm interested to see if it performs better because typically out of everything on our farm, the hoe on this backhoe is probably the most troublesome when it comes to taking grease. We're off to a poor start. My lock and lube tip could use a new seal. That may be part of the problem. I'll grab one of our DeWalt guns that has a standard grease tip on and see how it does. Yep, that one took first try, so I'd say that my tip is worn out. That's not a knock on the Milwaukee gun at all. These regular tips get worn out too. I do have a replacement seal or bushing or whatever it needs. I just don't know how to put it on. I'm not going to screw with it now. The DeWalt guns have always been reliable. They're not really exceptional. The Milwaukees have a lot more features, especially the dial option to set how many pumps you want. For something like the backhoe, you really don't need that kind of a setting. You just pump it until it shoots out. There you have it. She's greased and ready to roll. I will say that it would probably get greased more often if it didn't have a million different zerks on all the different pivot points. It'd also help if we weren't lazy when it came to servicing this thing, because it really does live a pretty rough life. Like I said a gazillion different times, if there's one thing on our farm that I would never want to be, it's our backhoe. Probably a silly question. Curious if you had to pick one farm equipment piece, tractor, whatever, anything on your farm that you would take its job, literally speaking or metaphorically speaking, what would that be? I think for us, I'd probably be our 8310R planter tractor. It still gets used occasionally, but it doesn't exactly get put through the ringer. So it's the best of both worlds. Unlike our 4520 tucked away in the barn here that never gets used at all, it's more on retirement duty. It's like it's in the nursing home at this point in the shed. I'd rather see a little bit of action as opposed to none. I don't know. Give me your thoughts and comments down below on that one. Just kind of a fun question. While I was taking my lunch break for the day, I got a package in the mail that is very fitting for some of our discussions we had earlier in the video. It is from Jensen Spray Equipment or Sprayer Depot Parts Warehouse. I'm not sure what their technical online store is called, but I ordered a ton of different nozzles for my soon to be arriving sprayer, and they should be in this box. Okay? Obviously, among other things, I should have some nozzles, which it says parts inside. I ordered a weather meter just to have on hand, some tip cleaners. Here are some of the nozzles I've ordered. These are T-Jet AIXR 110 size 8s. I'm not going to talk about these too much. To put it simply, all of these tips and caps I have in here are essential spray equipment. Like I said, not going to talk about it too much because I'll probably talk about it when I actually install them on the sprayer. Although they may not look like very much, I probably got $3,000+ in just plastic tips for my sprayer, which is more than I was expecting to spend, though about every step of the process with this sprayer has been a little bit pricier than I was expecting. I also bought a hand rinse tank to mount on my tanker. That way we can have some clean water to clean our hands off if we accidentally get some herbicide, fungicide, insecticide on our hands. I'm gonna throw this to the side for now and worry about it once we get the sprayer on the farm. Just know that we've got our nozzles. Sprayer nozzle selection is actually somewhat of a complicated topic. There's so many different options. I researched and researched and researched, talked to some agronomists, talked to some sprayer experts, finally figured out what I wanted to work with on our sprayer. I'll talk about that when we put them on, I guess. There is one other major thing coming for our soon-to-be-had sprayer today, supposedly. In the last 2 to 3 hours, it was supposed to have been delivered. I haven't seen it yet, but I ordered a tall jack, an air-powered jack, to help change our floater and our row crop tires out on this Hagee sprayer. Because it is a high-clearance sprayer, there's a very large length that a jack would have to stretch, so I ordered one. That FedEx is supposed to call me anytime, I guess, so I'll keep my phone open. Okay, back to the job that we're just so terribly excited to get started on, washing off these 2 remaining 4-wheel drive tractors. The only bright spot in the day is we finally got our hands on some of this high performance Andy Clean soap that everyone raves about. So we're gonna try it out, see how good it actually is. To be completely fair, I'm a little biased because my name's Andy, so I gotta like this somewhat. I've seen some things online that suggest maybe you should foam your equipment or your car or whatever before you wash it down. Something to do with the soap sticking better, loosening things up. So I'm gonna try that on this one for whatever it's worth. Not like I'm a high detail cleaning individual, but when I watch someone who looks like an expert do something that seems legitimate, I at least try it. I can even get this tip out. Jeff's taking the tractor I just cleaned off back to the other shed. Dad just showed up with the backhoe from whatever project he was working on. We're just gonna go ahead and wash it off too. He's gonna wash that, and then he volunteered himself for it, so I'll go get the other 4-wheel drive tractor out. The only unfortunate part about the next step in my to-do list is I have to back both planters out and the 9620R out because they're all blocking this 9460. I put it the farthest back in the back because I was trying to make use of my space efficiently, and it's much smaller than the 9620. The planters can only really be parked where they are currently in the middle, and just create a headache for later on, which I now have to deal with. Actually, now that I've analyzed the situation, I may be able to get by just moving the DB60 out, then the 9620. The corn planter would be helpful to move, though I don't know if that's necessary. Looks like someone left the lights on in the 9620. That same someone backed the DB60 through the mud in the yard, allegedly. I'll come back for you, even though LEDs probably don't even use that much battery. Technically speaking, we're already like halfway done washing off this tractor. Hopefully the last part of it's all downhill for us, assuming we don't break the power washer again. Looks like my dad got the backhoe somewhat rinsed off. I think we should earmark concrete wash bay for our shop because this wash bay has seen its better days. At the bare minimum, it may need some rock. My conscience got the better of me. I'm gonna flip off these lights before I do anything else. Okay, that's done. When I was backing the DB60 out, I did notice one glaring flaw that needs addressed with our 3-point quick hitch removal process, and that's that we never secured the 3-point that just floats freely. The quick hitch holds both of these arms in unison, and without it connected to something, they actually bang against the tires. That's far from ideal, and a piece of baling wire or even a strong bungee strap will hold these close enough together that it's not an issue. That, though, that's definitely an issue, but I'm not gonna worry about that mess today. I'll come back to the planter in a second. I'm gonna finish washing this tractor before it starts raining on me or something worse. My high clearance jack for the sprayer is supposed to be here between 10 and 2. It's almost 3 o'clock. I wonder if they're gonna call or if they're gonna have to reschedule. Dealing with FedEx, so I'm not really expecting much. Don't really have the most positive experiences with them. That, and they probably have a restraining order on my dad ever since he took out the top of one of their trucks with an unloading auger. This tractor actually looks pretty sharp right now, albeit this is the second time I've washed on it. At least the power washer didn't quit on us this time. The Andy Clean soap worked pretty good. It was very foamy. I'm not really an expert on this subject matter. A gallon of this is somewhat pricey, so buyer beware. But if you see it at your local dealership, whether you're John Deere, I think they may even have it at some Case dealerships, go ahead and grab you a gallon and support a nice family farmer that has a good product. If you care to hear my 2 cents on foaming soaps, I think that they're a very good option for quick cleaning on your equipment, though I did notice, regardless of what brand I used, that you're still not going to get that really hard baked on stuff that almost needs brushed off. Something very quick, easy, does a good job, but if you want a thorough cleaning, you have to put it in a little elbow grease. There's no silver bullet for cleaning equipment, and like I said, I'm not an expert, so maybe some of you know more than I do, so if you don't care for that opinion, just throw it out. Dad says there's enough room for this tractor back at the old red shed that would free us up a little bit of elbow room back here at the main machine shed, so I'm just going to run this up there. And by run it up there, I mean slowly walk up there, because our tires are nice and muddy from the area where we wash equipment. So much for a high of 70 today. I don't know if we even passed 65. Maybe that's just the farmer and me complaining. Either way, my pants are soaked. I've got a rain suit on the way, not necessarily for cleaning equipment, more specifically to clean out the inside of my tanker trailer in between crops, but it should double as a good wash suit. If you just don't look that closely at it, it actually appears to be pretty clean. It doesn't really take a whole lot to look better than this old highboy sprayer. It's like a princess compared to a toad. The game plan this spring with our tillage tractors is pretty straightforward. This 9460R, which is our oldest four-wheel drive on the farm, will be on one of the field cultivators, probably the new one. The 9620 will be on the other field cultivator. And this 9460R may or may not be hooked up to the vertical till in case we need it for some kind of unique scenario in one of our fields. If something gets too overgrown, sometimes the vertical till is the best option. Other than that, though, this is effectively a backup for either this tractor or the bigger tractor. My dad's really big on having backup tractors. For some reason, he just loves the idea of having an extra if something breaks down. I personally have lobbied for the longest time to kind of downsize. Before I ever came back to the farm full time, I was really gung-ho about trading the third four-wheel drive, or the extra one, for a sprayer. Fast forward many years later, and here we are with still a backup tractor, and we've got a sprayer coming in. Although I had to do the sprayer myself because no one else wanted to do it. Conveniently timed fashion, just got a phone call from FedEx. My sprayer jack should be here in 15 minutes or so at Dad's house. It will entail some forklift use. I'm gonna run over there unless Dad shows up here in the near future and unload that. I usually let my dad do forklifting operations. He's much more skilled than I am. If he's not here though, out of necessity, I gotta get behind the wheel. Let's see if we can't just get this planter tidied up before the delivery truck gets here. Every time I wait on a delivery truck, they never show up on time. So I'm gonna get distracted doing something else and maybe they'll show up on time. That's some textbook reverse psychology there for you guys. I don't know if these are even gonna be heavy enough to do this. Here they are. There may still be a little play in there. If that's not enough, we're gonna have to do baling wire. That's our only other option. I didn't think that this 3-point was all the way up. It must be just kind of a visual illusion because I'm used to the quick hitch being on here. Whether or not that's an ideal setup. The goal is to keep the cables and hoses off of the hitch area and also out of this pinch point below the main lift cylinder. And it looks like I'm not really doing that effectively because it's almost right there. Seeing as I'm pinched for time, I'm just going to go ahead and pull the tractor and the planter in, and we'll worry about that later. I told you stay out of the yard, Chris. Yeah. That's going to be something we'll have to get used to. It's not going to work very well when we got that new 48-foot grain bin right here. So we're going to have to make some adjustments. My only fear about this new DB60 planter, not sure how it's going to handle the mud. Not that we ever see any mud. I could not have timed that any better. There's our jack right there. You always got to warn the semi drivers not to pull into Dad's driveway. That's like a cardinal sin because his turns are too tight to get around with a semi, and all they'll do is cut into his drive, and that just would not be a good conversation. I hopped out real quick at the end of the driveway to talk to the gentleman. He's really nice. Complimented his ability to get here without calling a million times. Gonna hop in the forklift, go pick up this jack, send him on his way because he's actually gotten more stops today. Considering it's 4 o'clock, that's a long afternoon. The good news is that we have pretty much everything we need to spray except for the sprayer. While our tanker's still getting refined, they're kind of dragging their feet on that project. We've been hustling them along so we can get the tanker plumbed. And I've spent a fortune in the last week or 2 weeks, and I haven't even paid for the sprayer yet. Just one can of worms after another. The tips, like I said, were pretty expensive. This jack was pushing $2,000. It's an Emerson 220. I think a lot of you are probably familiar with the brand. I had multiple people recommend it to me for changing Hagee tires. So I'm probably not gonna pop this out today. It's pretty close to the end of the day, but just know that we do have this. And I'll probably be using it soon because I'm pretty sure the Hagee's coming with row crop tires on it, and I wanna switch out to the floaters. I do need to pop this open for sure. Obviously it needs assembled or some minor assembly done. I think most of it's already put together. Mainly, the invoice for this is in here. They actually ship these on demand, and then you just pay them once you get it. They have an invoice. I got to mail them a check back. I'm sure they want paid, but I'll make them wait a day just because I don't want to peel into this project yet. I will say that is putting a tremendous amount of faith in the person who literally only made a 3-minute phone call to order this. I give them props because they said their lead time was going to be 4 to 5 weeks. I got it in less than a week. Excited to pop this thing out, but that is a battle for a different day. For the sake of keeping the videos constant and not too long, that's gonna be it for me in this video. I greatly appreciate every single one of you continuing to tune in and support the channel. Your viewership means the world to me. I'll catch you on the next episode. Until then, make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you wanna see more, and comment down below if you have any questions. You know I love to talk about farming. Have a great day, everyone. Peace!